obviously just a lot of stress. And when they found out about my house, that made it 10 times worse. You know, living in a house with no planning permission when you've got a newborn baby, very stressful. I would not recommend that part. It's just to do what you've got to do, and if you get caught, you know, don't go up in arms at them and act like you haven't done something wrong when you have. You know, almost play the game, and the game should play for you, really. I mean, it wasn't too terrible. It was. Hey guys, today we are talking about the fact that I got caught massively by the council for no planning permission. Now, it's a big minefield when you actually get into planning, and something that I just knew was inevitable one day, but thought, fuck it, I'm gonna ignore it and hope for the best, and plead for forgiveness after the fact, which in hindsight might not have been the best way to do it, but we did it. So I took over this business in 2022 from my granddad, skipped my dad purely because he passed away. So I took it over in 2022. It was generating no money at all. So it was just a dead business, really. Most people would have probably got rid of it because it just wasn't, you know, no money at all. You couldn't even live off of it. So I took the decision to rent a unit out, rightfully or wrongfully. It did work quite well because it's made quite a bit of money. But when the council get out with you, it's a different story. So I'm firstly going to show you what the unit looks like from the inside. You would have seen from the thumbnail what it looks like on the outside. The same agricultural building it's always looked like. And it still looks exactly the same outside. It's not changed one bit. So I'll show you the inside now. Right, I'm not going to show you everything because obviously some stuff is private and it is a rented unit. Obviously I know the tenants quite well, so that should be fine with me filming in here. But basically, that's the door that leads outside. And yeah, let's go around that way. We won't show you what business they are. So essentially, that is what the difference is. No different really, particularly. No different to what it was before. It was just an agricultural workshop, and now it's a car body shop. So not much different. Obviously, they did install a spray booth to obviously spray the cars, as I'll show you this car that's in here. You know, they do more old American classics and things like that. So it's quite a good company, or people should I say, to have in the unit. I mean, it's the only one I rent out. I used to rent 2 out. Pushed my luck a little bit, but gave up with the 2 because the other person was a bit... We won't go into the situation of what that was like, but it's now got car body shopping people in it. It used to have a mini skip company in it. To anyone that's thinking about renting out a unit, if you're a farmer or a business owner or anything, do not rent it to skip people. They're awful, they've got no respect, and unless they're a proper long-standing, a long company that's been around a long time, that's got good reviews, and you can speak to previous tenants, previous landlords that they've had, I wouldn't recommend it. So the council, I believe someone down my road reported me, really. Truthfully, obviously the council won't tell you who or what or how they've come to the conclusion that you're doing this, but anyway, they contacted me by letter. Now, this is the difficult part. So you get on a farm permitted development rights, which I thought this would come under. However, turns out it doesn't come under it. So storage and certain other business uses would come under it. But this comes under a completely separate category. This comes under industrial use because it's a car body shop. So that changed the whole subject of the planning aspect. Now, obviously, when you get caught, I would say they're quite good. I'm not going to name the council that I dealt with or where we are, but in the first instance, you deal with a planning case officer or enforcement officer who came out and just checked what was actually happening to make sure that the reports they had were correct. Now, I couldn't fault him, to be fair. It was pretty good. No big dramas. He just took a couple of photographs, asked a couple of questions, and that was pretty much that. Now, after that, it was obviously advised that we needed to put in an application, so we started the process of putting the application in, which is where it gets very expensive, and the reason I haven't done it before. So, because it's not a simple, although it's a change of use, it's not as simple as a change of use to just an easier use, because of the car painting and the fumes and the risks of the environment, shall one say. So we had to submit a full plan application, which I paid a private company to deal with, which cost. That was £2,500 on its own, and then you've got the application fee on top of it. So it was about £3,200 or so, which is quite a chunk of money when you think about it. But compared to what this unit generates, it wasn't the end of the world. And I kind of knew it was going to happen one day, so I've always kept some back for that precise reason. So in the period between the enforcement officer coming out and us submitting a plan application, the business rates, which is a separate department in the council, they came out, which I don't agree with. They came out to try and put rates on the unit before it even got planning permission, which I don't agree with, because it just seems a bit backwards to do that before you've even got planning application or planning permission. So after that, it was a case of submitting the plan application, which we submitted, I think it was about November the 1st, or the start of November anyway, which was good. However, it obviously took a long period of time to actually get that through the planning. But once it was through the planning, it wasn't too bad. There was a lot of consultations where they had to consult the Environment Agency and various other agencies to ensure they were all happy, including highways, because obviously we are quite rural and we live on a rural road, so it was a bit question markable as to whether they were going to be okay with that. However, they were okay with it, which was good. So obviously that got submitted, and in between all of this, the council found out that I built a house. Now, that is a different subject altogether. So building a house with no planning permission, as most people know, is a big problem. Now, luckily it's an annex, and it was a set of stables. So I managed to just convert that easily. I could do a separate video on that whole subject if you want. Just let me know in the comments. But yeah, so I converted, the planning application came back, and it was okay. It wasn't the end of the world, and to be honest, to anyone that wants to do this sort of thing or wants to convert something or needs planning permission for it, I would advise to just do it and ask for forgiveness after the fact. But I think there's a certain scope that would say that sometimes you've just got to do what you've got to do. I mean, for example, the business before wasn't making any money at all, so to have £3,000 to plough into something, the planning permission, in the hopes you get it, was a big risk. £3,000 a lot of money. So I think if it's something you can do and you know you're going to get away with it for a little while and be able to generate the money to then be able to go through the legal steps of getting it properly certified, that is the way I would recommend doing it, because obviously I knew that this was going to happen one day, so I kept money back each month from the rent to ensure that when this happened, I had the money and the finances there to deal with it. Right, with all that being said, that's basically what happened. I mean, it was 3 months of pure stress, thinking that the only solid income of the farm is potentially going to get stopped, which was a massive, would have been a massive issue really. Would have made the business completely unviable and unfinancially sustainable. We wouldn't be able to sustain ourselves without it. Admittedly, it does come with its expenses, such as electricity and all that sort of stuff, but on the whole, it does make a vast amount of the farm's money. So, if anybody else wants to know anything else about the planning or how we went about dealing with it, or the company we used for it, or the permitted development rights, because there are a lot of permitted development rights, just let me know. It's just one of those situations where everybody's just got to deal with it. I don't personally agree with some of the aspects of planning, but you've just got to deal with it. And that's kind of the take on it, really. So my recommendation is just to do what you've got to do, and if you get caught, don't go up in arms at them and act like you haven't done something wrong when you have. Almost play the game, and the game should play for you, really. I mean, it wasn't too terrible. It was obviously just a lot of stress, and when they found out about my house, that made it 10 times worse. Living in a house with no planning permission when you've got a newborn baby, very stressful. I would not recommend that part. But it did actually work out fine, and it wasn't a problem at all. However, for the 3 weeks that I didn't know whether we were going to have a house to live in, it was quite stressful. So anyway, if you did like this, then hit the like button and subscribe while you're there, because it does make a big difference. I've got the new camera now, so this is on the new camera. I haven't got the microphone yet, which might let it down quite a bit. I'm not sure until I edit this, but we'll find out. It's got to be better than my phone anyway. Hence why I've done a slight indoors video, because as you know, the weather in the United Kingdom has been awful. So that's the end of that. Hope you enjoyed it. We are going to get to some more farming jobs in the next couple of videos. I know these last few have been a little bit off topic, or a little bit too much talking probably for what people really want to enjoy watching. But the weather's just been awful, and I've been struggling with cameras. So now I've got a new camera, and I'll have a new mic this week as well. It should make a big difference and allow me to be able to be outside filming, and you'll still be able to hear me, and you'll still be able to see me, and it should all be in 4K. I'm not sure about this video, because I don't know if I'm going to have time to go and upload it at someone else's house, because we have no Wi-Fi. Well, we do have Wi-Fi, but it's awful. So that is that. But yeah, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, leave a comment on anything you want to see, and we'll just go from there, really. Hopefully we can turn this into a little community. Hopefully we can make something of it. But we'll see. Cheers, bye.